Hey everybody, and welcome back to the second channel. Today we're going to learn the song Rollerbladin'. First of October's first album, 10 Hours, which is an album that Andrew Huang and I made in a day. And this song is one of my favorite tracks on it, and I've been playing it quite a lot since we've made the album. It uses 4 chords that I use all the time, and I absolutely love to death. And a lot of people have pointed out when I often do these like time restraint challenges, I often go to these chords because just when I'm just playing for fun, I go to them all the time. So when you're in a situation where you need to make something now and it's just the first thing that comes to your head, then I often go right to those chords. So this song is no different. I think I first used these chords in Short Song, which is a really old tune of mine.
So old it was recorded in wax.
Yeah, yeah. So this is the same chords. So here's what the chords are. The first one is open on the E, then your second finger on the 7th fret, then your first finger on the 6th, pinky on the 8th, and then 3rd on the 7th. Oh, and then an open E. And it's a really pretty chord, and I use it all the time. And so all your fingers are just kind of in this clump here, and there's a lot of variation you can do with this chord. Like you can bring the pinky up a fret, or bring your second finger up to the 7th on the E, or open with harmonics. Though also both of them open and could work in some context. And then you have the harmonics that you can get with your 3rd on these 2 high strings, or the harmonics on the low, because you're right by the 7th fret. And then you can move this whole shape, this whole clump, up to the 12th fret, 12, 11, 13, 12, and you have all the same variations. And quite a few others, so I use these all the time. And then this is what rollerblading is built off of, and then 2 other chords that I usually use in conjunction with those. So the song starts with this first one, and just this arpeggiating pattern, which is just starting at the low E, making it up to the B string and back, just ignoring the high E. And then we're doing that variation from earlier, where we take the 2nd finger, and instead of it being on 7th on the E, or 7th on the A, which is an E, that's confusing, it's then onto the low E strings, not on the A, on the low E. So, and then it also mutes the A string there. I normally say, like, there's a tab in the description, but there's not this time. Also, I wonder if I were to tab it, if I would tab out all the little nuances to the song. I probably wouldn't, because in every song on this album, the recording is the first time we ever played it. So there's a lot of nuance to the playing that was just figuring out as we went and just keeping, you know, whatever takes. So the whole album has a very kind of live feel to it. So anyway. And then there's a bit of palm muting on that part. I hope they can hear you in the microphone. And I believe that's the variation there. So that is the beginning, and during the whole song that plays quite a lot. But there's a lot of variance in just adding extra notes or little flares there, or a lot of it is choosing where you're palm muting, how much you're palm muting, how hard you're playing. So in this song, as with a lot of tunes, particularly Rain is one that's this particular type of thing is really important, where you're playing the same thing the whole time, but in how much you're palm muting and how loud you're playing, you can give it this flow. So here you have the beginning, which kind of ramps up and then goes to the verse, then chorus, verse, then a big ending, and all being the same part, though the chorus isn't, but around the chorus. But all those parts in all the different verses are all the same, you're just changing up how much you're palm muting. So keep that in mind. So at the beginning, it starts ramping up, Ugh. Go on. Maybe not that much. Then to the verse. I've been skating all my life. And so that continues in the verse, and then we take that same shape and bring it up to the other chord that we have, and a little bit of a different rhythm, which is all the same. You're starting on the low E, going up to the B and back. Something like that, and then you start on the A, just through all the strings that you're fretting. A to the D string, then up to the B, skip the G string, and then that gives it a bit of a different rhythm. And that's in Rollerbladin' all my life. And that is the first verse. And then we go into the chorus, which are the other two chords that I use all the time with these. And it's just a E major, but we start with the low E. And then I don't remember exactly what the arpeggiating pattern is there. It's probably different every chorus. So low E, full chord, low E, then to this next chord. And that is well, it's in a bunch of songs, but it's in this one as well. So we got the E major, and then you take your second finger, instead of it being on the second fret on the A string, you bring it to the second fret on the E. And this time, unlike over here, you're not going to mute the A string. You're going to let it stay open. So it's going to go from. Oops. And again. And then that's the low E to the B. Oops. So a lot of these songs, again, have a lot of variants in this album, and this one does as well. And since we're in E major, all the open strings work except for the G. So if you're going to do any of this type of stuff to transition into other parts, just make sure you're muting the G, or it'll sound like what I just did. And then you end it just on that E. And then it goes back to the verse. Oh wait, no, after the first chorus it goes into the solo. So there's a guitar that continues on with the verse riff at like a medium, intensity with palm muting and whatnot. And then it goes into a little solo. And this is another thing where I'm doing these, timed challenges where I do this a million times. Or that little lick I learned a very long time ago, and at the time that I learned it, it stuck out to me because it's like, oh, I don't ever do stuff like that. I should really practice that. I should use that more. I never do that. And so I've started doing it all the time, and I still kind of feel that way, like, oh, I don't do stuff like that. I should bring that in. But now I do it constantly. So like this song, or Metal in Very Inappropriate Places. It's in a ton of my songs. But anyway, so it starts at the 13th fret on the G string, which just like that E major, we're just taking that same shape on the D and G string and bringing it up an octave. So 14th fret on the D, 13th on the G. And that is what we're basing this whole solo around. So we start on the 13th fret on the G, hammer on and pull off on the fret right near it, 14th, and then go to that E note right there. slide up a step, and go to 13th to 14th. So really, just that E major, we're kind of just dancing around it. And then back to just the E major. Then you repeat that part. And then we move to these, what would be six chords, sixes, I don't know. Thirds, fourths, fifths, sixths chords. And that starts on the, well, let's go through the whole solo so far. And slide. Kind of messed that part up there. But it's these chords, 13, and then, well, that'd be this high up. I'll do the octave so it's a little easier to understand. First fret, 4th fret, 2nd fret, 6th fret, then just moving that same shape up a whole step, and then 6, 9, just all in E major. And it would probably make more sense to skip strings to do those. Yeah. As far as it being a little bit easier to understand. But I've always done them on just 2 strings, and I also like the sound of this note here rather than there. So it ends with going up those chords. Cool. Then goes right back to the verse. And so on. To the chorus. And then in the second chorus, it ends with this walk up, which is, again, these just 2 chords from the chorus. Switches to. And those 2 chords we bring in are 4, 2, 1, pinky, 2nd finger, 1st finger, and then 5th fret, 4th fret, 2nd fret. So it just takes that same shape and just moves it over 1 in the scale for each string. And then there's a little bit of a lick there that goes into, I guess what you call just the solo section. So, I believe it's just arpeggiating that chord. And then on the D string, going from the 4th fret to the 6th. I believe. Same 2 chords. 4, 2, 1. I actually don't remember exactly what's there.
That sounds like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it must have just been these 3. Because writing it really quickly, I don't think I would have added in any other strings. Yeah, I think it's just that. It somehow ends with 4th to the 6th. And then it moves into the solo section, which does have some really tricky chords here. So it starts, this one, 12th fret, 14th fret, 12th fret, 14th fret, 11th, 14th. It's a bit of a stretch. And then you just take the same chord, and I like to do this a lot, especially just when jamming. I'll find a chord that I really like, and then I will just move it left or right on the fretboard with every string going to the next note in that scale. And I just do that by ear. In this one you have, with these 2 strings, you have a 5th and then one of the 6th chords. 11, 12, 9, and 13. 9, 11, 7, 11. And I really love this one, that you have that. You have that in there. 7, 9, 6, 9. So, a few of these are really a stretch. This one in particular. Messed up there. And then I know at some point I move that 9th fret over 1. So it's just those 4 chords throughout. I think at the end there's a bit of strumming, bringing that 9th fret to the 8th to go back into a different version of the chorus. And then the solo there is pretty much the same as the other solo, just taking longer to get to all the parts. In fact, I don't remember it. But it's all the same notes as the previous solo, just holding some things out longer. So then the last chorus, is you take that from the verse, that same rhythm that we were doing up here, we apply it to this chord. Then the song ends with this same build-up from before. And then that rhythm. And then there it is. That's rollerblading. So go ahead and get a bass playing friend, a drum playing friend, and head down to the roller rink, get your rollerblades, and have some fun. Alright, thanks for watching. What I was saying before the cameras were on, was Jake, when he edited the video, added clips of skating, and they were clips I was really happy with.
Yeah.
Which doesn't often happen.
I just added the ones that were the most impressive to me.
Yeah, well thank you.
Yeah, I love the one, especially the one where the jump is good, but I like when you go jump from one rail to the other rail.
Yeah, thanks.
That looked dangerous as hell.
It's me in my prime. I actually wasn't that as happy with that one because I go sol to royale, and that's not really a full switch up. You're only changing one foot.
The distinction to me was one rail to another.
Well, I should have done. I mean that was like, I think I was in high school in that clip, but I should have done sol to soyale. Then it would have been like a full switch up, but it was scary, so I just went sol to royale instead of sol to soyale.
Yeah.
Switch soyale. Anyway,
we should do a skate through video, like play through and skate
I would
through.
love to. I would love so much to just put out a bunch of skating stuff, because that's what people come to the second channel for.
Absolutely.
Yeah, when they subscribe, they're like, I came here for rollerblading.
Straight blading.
I came here for blading. Rollerblading.